Nakonde Lucas Simumba. Emmanuel Mwamba, Zambia's immediate past ambassador to Ethiopia and a former permanent representative to the African Union, has taken a strong exception to remarks attributed to Chuangandu MP Stephen Kampyongo, who recently cautioned PF members to be aware of unnamed chancers trying to hijack the party. Mr. Mwamba says the name calling must come to an end, that political parties must engage in progressive debates and discuss policies. He also cautions fellow PF flock to stop jostling for office, saying it is premature. And Mr. Mwamba has called for a national economic endeavor. Speaking on MUVI TV's assignment program, Mr. Mwamba expressed fear that early indications showed that the new Don administration would take Zambia to extreme liberal policies similar to those implemented in the 90s. He says listening to pronouncements made by President Hakainde Hichilema and studying the national budget showed that the economic policies being pursued will rely heavily on the IMF prescribed programs, accumulating foreign debt and giving free rein to foreign investment. He said Zambia was industrialized by such policies that decimated the industrial and manufacturing capacity of the country. He stressed the current high levels of unemployment to the economic policies pursued in the 90s.
Sad when I hear such rhetoric, because I heard it against President Michael Sata, where a group of leaders took it upon themselves that they would save this country, and President Michael Sata was not suitable to be a leader of this country. They called him names. They called him all sorts of names. We have done the same with President Hakainde Hichilema, where again a certain group of people called him all sorts of names that he was not suitable to be president. President Michael Sata became president. So how do those that called him names feel? President Hakainde Hichilema has become president. So when you call him names, you call him all sorts of names. He's president now. How do you eat your own words? It's just sad that the name calling in politics should come to an end. Let us discuss policies. I, in fact, wrote something on my Facebook page to that extent, responding to that press conference. I said there should be a new way of conducting politics. I think the name calling, to the two examples I've given, I like, in fact, if I'm reminiscing on my page, if you go to my page, I even refer to the case of Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki was this distinguished scholar with two distinguished degrees from Oxford and Cambridge. And Jacob Zuma has never been to school. Jacob Zuma had never stepped a foot in class. He was informally taught in Robben Island in prison by actually Thabo Mbeki's father, Governor Mbeki. And when there was a contest between Jacob Zuma, who has never been to school, and this Oxford-trained, they would call him king philosopher of the president, they called Jacob Zuma all sorts of things under the heavens and the earth. But Jacob Zuma beat these educated, these classy people. It's just not good to call people names. You just don't know who they will be tomorrow. And in your and my personal life, we've seen people that have insulted us begin to call us boss or sir. You see, the way you conduct yourself, especially in public affairs, be wary that you might have to eat your words tomorrow. Be careful. So for me, I always go for clean politics. Don't name.
And Mr. Mwamba says Zambia must come up with a law that automatically fires serving diplomats when there is a change of administration, in the same manner it does with attorney generals. He says this is to avoid the unnecessary pressure put on the presidency to fire diplomats appointed by an immediate past regime for fear they are appointed on political party patronage. Mr. Mwamba, who was recalled by President Hakainde Hichilema on 17 September 2021, further has called for an end to the purging of civil servants from the public service that served the previous government.
Because the new government has won power. Where we borrowed democracy from UK, for the US, they respect the civil service. And that's why I gave examples of the US, where you can identify those that you think should leave with losing or the president leaving office. We've done something anyway. Under this current constitution that was enacted in 2016, the position of both Attorney General and Solicitor General will go with the head of state who has left office or who has lost an election. So we began to make progress. But there should be no unilateral purges as we have seen, where the only reason you are being dismissed, not because you didn't do your job, but because you are appointed by the predecessor. That should never be the case. The victimization then continues. So the permanent secretaries that have been appointed, no matter how professional they are, no matter how distinguished and educated they are, they're going to be deemed as UPND permanent secretaries, UPND civil servants. And imagine another government came in, another purge would occur. Because the perception from day one is that you've removed permanent secretaries that are PF, you've brought in UPND permanent secretaries, instead of bringing in professionals. So we, as a country, we need to debate those issues and to ensure that we protect, especially for civil servants that may.
Not we take a break, we still have more interesting items.